Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a robotics engineer with a love for all things beauty and makeup related. And today we are going to do a little shop my stash rotation. I try to do shop my stashes monthly to try and focus on specific products during a certain month. This is kind of to go alongside with my project pan so that I have my project pan items, but I have a little bit of variety within there that I'm also trying to focus on. If that sounds interesting, I have a whole playlist for Shop My Stash. I'll link it if you want to watch it. The first half of this video is going to be talking about the products I had in last month's basket and kind of just discussing what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, maybe some of the looks that I got. And then the second half of the video will be me picking out the new products, which I will put a timestamp if you're not interested in me talking about the old products, and you can just watch the new products if you want. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. Let's just hop into it. Okay, so let's first talk about some of the old products that I had in my May basket. The first two I want to talk about are these two palettes. This first one is the M Cosmetics Divine Skies eyeshadow palette in the shade Rodin. Putting this into my Shop My Stash, I did manage to completely use this, not use this up, but use this enough times to take it out of my No Palette Left Behind challenge, which there will be an update for that at the end of this month. So I've used this 5 times. I am calling that good because I think this palette is really nice, compact. I really like traveling with this palette because it's so compact, and it's just a good everyday neutrals eyeshadow palette. I do wish the glitters were a little bit more impactful in this palette. I know my vibe these days have pretty much been like a glitter topper all over, having that kind of like wet sparkle look. And while this palette is pretty, it just doesn't give me that. And so I found myself having to reach for something else if I want that effect that I'm going for. So it's a good palette. It's a good neutral everyday palette. I am glad that I used this 5 times to take it out of my No Palette Left Behind challenge, and so, you know, I think we made good work with this palette over the last month. So I'm gonna put this back. I enjoyed it. We're gonna pull out a different palette, and you will see that at the end of this video. The other palette I had in my Shop My Stash was the Beauty Bay Pastels palette. It looks like this. It's a beautiful spring palette. I think the colors are very pigmented for being pastel. I know pastels can be kind of hard to formulate. I typically use this as an inner corner pop of color kind of vibe. I'm not huge on super colorful eyeshadow looks on myself. I just don't feel like myself wearing super bright, bold, colorful looks. And so I typically take at least one of the shades and just do like a pop of inner corner like I did today. Today I used the shade Lovesick, this bottom one here, for this inner corner. I think it's really pretty. I'm glad that I put this in my Shop My Stash. This is also my 5th use of this palette, which means it's also done in my No Palette Left Behind challenge. So I feel like I'm making pretty good progress. I do like that I'm kind of playing with color, but also making use out of all the palettes in my collection. Really happy about that. Really happy that putting these in my Shop My Stash kind of put me to that limit. The next product I want to talk about is this Too Cool for School Artclass by Rodin contour powder. I did like this. I think it's very sheer and or very light. I found myself kind of aiming my brush towards these 2 darker shades just because the light shade does not show up on me at all. I'll do like a little mixture of all 3, do like a big swirl. I did like this. I'm glad I was able to actually test it out because I didn't in my full face of K-Beauty video, and so I think it's good. I am gonna put this back because I do have something else that I really want to use, but I thought it was a good product. I like the formula of it. It's very soft to the touch, but you can see that it's pretty light, so it just like didn't show up a ton on my skin, but it gave a really subtle, like a really subtle contour, which is sometimes what I prefer anyway. So I'm glad I got to try this out. I don't think I will be putting this back in my Shop My Stash anytime soon, but you know, I'm glad I got to try it out. I think this would work better for me in the winter when I am a little bit paler for sure. The next item I had in my Shop My Stash is this Refy gloss highlighter, and I don't love the delivery system of this highlighter. I thought the highlighter itself was really pretty. I thought this was very much like a glow from within type of highlighter, which is my preference. However, this kind of packaging, I always end up squeezing too much, and I feel like I'm wasting so much product because highlighter is something that you really don't need a lot of. It's like very pinpointed parts of my face where I typically put highlighter, and so I just always end up squirting out too much, and I think that's wasteful. If this came in a different delivery system, I would like it more, or if it was a little bit thicker to squeeze out, like, and I wouldn't squeeze out as much, I think that would be cool too. It's very gel-like with the texture that this is, and the delivery system, it just feels very wasteful to me. So I did also use this to mix in with my blush too, to make it a glowy blush. I like the product. I think that works really well as a blush mixer as well. I just don't think that it works great as like a highlighter specifically. The blushes I have in my collection, or in my Shop My Stash, are these two. This first one is the Saem single blusher in the shade Dragon Red. It's a really pretty blush. I thoroughly enjoy it. It is quite pigmented, it is quite powdery, so you have to be a little bit careful, but I thought that the blush was really great for this springtime, summertime type of vibes, so I did enjoy it. I think it's kind of similar to the ColourPop Heart blush that I have in the shade Forever Yours. I would say that this is probably a little bit powdery, or more powdery, and there's a little bit more kick up. So if that's something that you're not super interested in, maybe avoid this. But this blush is also super affordable, really pretty. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I'm glad to take this out of my collection because I have something else that I want to put in. The other blush that I have in here is the Cosmetics Heaven's Glow blush in the shade Rococo. This blush is a stunning blush. I think it works really well for layering on top, and especially because sometimes I would go maybe a little bit overboard with the Rare Beauty blush in my project pan in the shade Joy, which is like a little bit too peach for my tastes. Would put this over it and it would just kind of neutralize that blush a little bit, make it a little bit more wearable. I like this blush a lot. I like the sheen that it has. I think it's a beautiful blush formula, and I mean, the packaging is also just kind of fun. It does have a magnetic closure. I really like this blush. I feel like most people know by now that I like this blush, so I'm gonna try not to talk about it for too long. And the last thing I had in my Shop My Stash was the Missha Perfect Cover BB Cream in the shade in the shade 25. So I did like this, but I think it's a little bit too heavy and thick for the spring summertime. It's been insanely hot this past like week, and into next week it's going to be insanely hot too, and this texture is just a little bit thicker than I would like for the summertime. And so while I do like the formula, I am going to take this out of my Shop My Stash just because the texture is too thick for my makeup preferences in the summer. So I'm going to pull it out, and I have a skin tint that I am putting into my Shop My Stash for the month of June. So for the picking out new products portion, I would usually do like a bird's eye view or like a top-down view of my collection and picking out products that I want to use. However, I have pre-selected the products for this month, and it's mainly because there's not as many products, so I just thought it wouldn't be as fun. And there's not as many products because I am putting in a face palette. This is my Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm face palette, and it looks like this. It has these two contour shades, this highlighter, and I would consider this a blush topper because it isn't super pigmented on its own. But I thought this would pair really well with my Rare Beauty blush and with all the products that I have in my project pan right now. It's nice to have a contoury type of shade because some bronzers on me can be too warm, so I just like having that option. The peachy blush topper works really well with my Rare Beauty blush in the shade Joy, and I like how it's a little bit metallic. Not metallic, I like how it has a little bit of a sheen to it, just to kind of liven up the face, especially in the summertime. And then this golden highlighter is stunning. It's the highlighter I have on today. Overall, a really good pick. But since this is replacing a lot of the singular items I had in my Shop My Stash the last month, I just thought it'd be kind of boring to show you guys the top down view. So that is gonna be the main star of the Shop My Stash basket for the month of June, I think. Besides this Charlotte Tilbury face palette though, I'm also gonna put in the Patrick Ta cream and powder blush duo in the shade She's So LA. I think it's just nice to have a neutral blush option if I'm not feeling the Rare Beauty Joy blush. I love the formula of the Patrick Ta blushes. It has the cream and the powder option, so I can layer if I need to, I can mix if I need to. I think it's just a really good versatile product, and I think it'll go really well with the other products I have in my Shop My Stash and my Project Pan. So I think that's gonna be a really good option. I am looking forward to using this. The next item that I'm putting in my Shop My Stash is also from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Super Nudes Easy Eye Palette. This is an all matte palette, but it has pretty much the essentials for my typical everyday look. I have also kind of been loving a matte eye look lately. It has these like warmer tones and these cooler tones, and I think it just works really well. It's nice and compact, so it's nice for traveling. And to add to that, for when I don't want an all matte look, I'm putting in my Nabla Miami Lights glitter palette. I think the shades in here are really pretty. I think this shade screams Midnights. This shade would just be like a really pretty all over glitter topper, and then these two shades are just kind of fun pops as well. And I wanted to put this in specifically because I'm going to the Taylor Swift concert this month. I'm actually going to both of the dates in Detroit, so I'm really excited about that. And I feel like I could get a lot of really fun looks out of all of these. Since I'm going both nights, I'm going to do 2 different looks for the Taylor Swift concert, and so I think this palette just really adds to that. Like, this is definitely like a Midnights vibe, and this one could be Fearless easily. So really excited about that as well. Since it is summer and it is really hot, to replace the foundation that I had in my Shop My Stash, I'm going to put in the skin tint. This is the Summer Fridays Sheer Skin Tint in the shade 40. I think this is a really good skin tint. I think this is a really good match for me. It blends in really easily with my hands, and I think it just fits the vibe. It fits the summer vibes. I am sweaty, I am hot, and honestly on days like that, I don't reach for foundation much to begin with, but if I do want something that is pretty light, pretty easy to wear, and where I don't really have to worry about it. And if it fades or transfers, if my allergies are acting up and I have to blow my nose, I don't really have to worry about my foundation rubbing off because it is sheer enough where I feel like I wouldn't even notice it. So really excited to put this in, and I'm really excited with my basket this month, mainly because it's the Taylor Swift concert, and I'm really excited about the Nabla Miami Lights glitter palette. I think that's going to be super fun. I'm excited to see what looks I come up with for the Taylor Swift concert, and I'm so excited. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already. Let me know what you guys think of these products. Do you love them? Are there any products you want me to try? Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.